So here we go. Today's lesson is number 5B in Unit 2, Subtracting Integers, Day 2. So today students will be able to add the additive inverse, add the opposite, to find the difference of integers. Language objective students will be able to verbally describe how to compare integers to find the difference of integers. And this is important for many real-world problems like finding the change in temperature over a period of time. All right. So we're going to start with this little table and see if you notice something. So number 1, 3 minus 14. So I drew a little number line over here to help you see this. Remember, positive 3 means we're going to go right 3, 1, 2, 3. And then minus 14 means from there we're going to go left 14. So we're going to go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And we get over here to negative 11. Negative 11. All right, let's try this one. Positive 3, 1, 2, 3, plus negative 14. Well, that means left 14. So here we go. We're going to move back 14. And again, we get to negative 11. Well, you should be looking at these two and thinking to yourself, these got the same answer. This one went right 3 and then left 14, and this one went right 3 and then left 14. So they did the same thing. Let's see if that works down here. How about right 5, then left 13? All right, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back left 13, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 gets me to negative 8. Negative 8 for this one. Let's try it right here. 5 minus 13. Positive 5 minus 13 means left 13. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. So once again, we get to negative 8. Noticing something here. Let's use our adding rules. Let's look at the ones that we had done a couple days ago. Negative 6 plus negative 13. They're all negative, so we would add them up to negative 19. And negative 6 minus 13 more, that means we're still going to the left even more. And so again, we're going to end up at negative 19. If we do 9, take away 8. Right 9, back 8, we end up at positive 1. On this one, right 9, back 8, again, positive 1. 6 minus negative 14, that's that weird one. Remember yesterday, left but then turn around, so you're actually going to the right. If I go right 6 and then left but turn around, I'm going to go right 14 more. So I've only ever gone to the right. I end up at positive 20. 6 plus 14, again, positive 20. 8 plus 3, positive 11. 8 minus negative 3 means 8. Go right 8, then left but turn around, so go right 3 from there, and you get, again, to positive 11. Negative 3 plus 18, left 3, and then right 18. Remember when we saw these with our adding day, it was we have 3 negatives and 18 positives, so they're going to have some 0 pairs that cancel out. I have more positives. How many more positives do I have? Well, I have 15 more. Over here we have left 3, then left but turn around 18, so that means left 3 and then right 18. Again, I get to positive 15. So hopefully you're noticing with all of these, when we were subtracting or adding a negative, it came out to be the same answer. Subtracting is adding a negative. Subtracting is adding a negative. Subtracting is adding a negative. It's all the same thing. So that is an actual rule of subtraction. Subtracting a number is the same thing as adding its opposite, adding its additive inverse. So every time we see subtraction, we can rewrite it as adding a negative. So let's try that. So 2 minus 5 is going to be the same thing as 2 plus negative 5. 5 minus 1 is the same thing as 5 plus negative 1. And it becomes a little bit easier if we're always writing this as an addition problem. It makes a little bit more sense, like we saw it last time with 5 positives and 1 negative, and so we know they cancel out. We have more positives than negatives. It becomes a little bit easier to see. So let's look at number 15. Subtraction expression, negative 7 minus 3 would be the same thing as negative 7 plus negative 3. And it's important that you include those parentheses. Remember, up here, I was writing them where it looks funny. Don't forget, that's why we put in parentheses. We put in parentheses so it doesn't look funny, but we do need that addition sign before it. So we have to put -7 plus -3 has to have those parentheses around it. All right, let's look at 6 minus 11 is the same thing as 6 plus parentheses -11. Okay, so we're really just adding the opposite, adding the opposite, adding the opposite. So right here, it would be 12 plus, well, the opposite of -3 is +3, so that would just say 12 plus 3. Right here, -6 plus the opposite of -8 is +8. -6 plus 8. Right here, 14 plus -10. Right here would be -2 plus -7, -8 plus +10, and 5 plus, sorry, that's not a negative, 5, +5 plus +9. So we can rewrite all these with adding the opposite. That's just rewriting. If we turn our page, now let's use that rewrite to simplify this, to actually figure it out. So right here, -2 minus 6 can be rewritten as -2 plus -6. We have 2 negatives and 6 negatives, so altogether we have 8 negatives. What about this one? Well, 9 minus 14 is the same thing as 9 plus -14. If I have 9 positives and 14 negatives, we know some are going to cancel out. I've got more negatives. How many more do I have? I have 5 more negatives left over. And again, that's where you can use your plus signs and minus signs to cancel stuff out if you really want to see it. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 5 negatives left over. 7 minus -4 is the same thing as 7 plus +4. And so that's just going to be +11. -10 minus -7 is the same as -10 plus +7. I have 10 negatives and 7 positives. I have more negatives. How many more do I have? I have 3 more. So that answer would be -3. -8 minus 12 can be rewritten -8 plus -12. I have 8 negatives. I have 12 more negatives. They're all negatives, and I would have a total of 20 negatives. -5 minus -3 can be rewritten as -5 plus +3. Negatives, I have 5. Positives, I have 3. I would have more negatives, and I would have 2 left over in that case. 6 minus -8 would be the same thing as 6 plus +8, and that would give us 14. And again, remember, this is happening. We can change it to a positive because remember the left turnaround actually ended up going right. That's why we can rewrite these things. 4 minus 21 is the same thing as +4 plus -21. I have 4 positives, 21 negatives. I definitely have more negatives. And how many more do I have? I have 17 more negatives. -20 minus 16 is the same thing as -20 plus -16. They're all negatives, so I end up with 36 total negatives. And right here, -22 minus -24 is the same thing as plus +24. And so here I would have 22 negatives, 24 positives, and I would have positives left over. How many more would I have? Well, I would have 2. All right, just 2 other questions for this one, nice and short today. Using integers 6 and 2, create an addition expression or a subtraction expression that will simplify to -4. So if I'm using 6 and 2, and I can make them positive or negative, I want it to equal -4. So one of these could be more negatives than positives, so I could do -6 plus 2, and I would result in -4. If I wanted to use 6 and 2 again to get -4, let's see, I could do, well, not a whole lot else the way that it looks here, aside from rewriting it the other way. But otherwise, we could say maybe 2 plus -6 that way, or we could say 2 minus 6 would equal -4. So there's a few different ways that we could use 2 and 6 to get to negative 4. Last one here, using integers negative 8 and negative 11. So negative 8 and negative 11 create an addition or subtraction expression that will simplify to positive 3. All right, so I'm going to have 3 positives left over here. So I've got to change this one to a positive somehow. Remember, the way that we change that is by throwing in a subtraction. We'll make that one opposite. So that would make it say negative 8 plus positive 11, and that would result in 3. Now remember, we also do have those absolute value signs, and so we could say the absolute value of negative 11, which would be positive 11, minus 8. So 11 minus 8 would give us positive 3. All right, so those are just some different creative ways we can work with these numbers and come up with some expressions. Otherwise, the main idea today, remember, all subtractions can be written as adding the opposite. Add the opposite, add the opposite. Don't forget to try this on your exit ticket and let me know if you're having troubles. See you soon.